Oh, oh my God, I pushed play. Oh. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. I just zoned out shuffling. This is another edition of Teen Tarot, and I'm going to do a monthly Teen Tarot. So what I'm going to do is pull 2 oracle cards that are going to give us sort of the foundation to build the month off of. So it's going to be sort of the major reoccurring theme that is going to be coming up. I say month, but I just mean in the next, little while. So we are using the Divine Circus Oracle, okay, which gave you a steampunk priestess. And then we're also going to pull from the Oracle of Shadows and Light. That's the book. Oh, man. Okay. So you got Shallow Grave. You miss someone. Well, that's pretty, I wouldn't say self-explanatory. Tell us more. Who are you missing? Okay, let's see. I'll let you look at the card in case you pick anything up intuitively. Whenever you're doing, a random tarot reading or anything like that, remember that you're in control of the messages that you take in, and if it doesn't feel right, it's not right for you. And also, you're equipped with your own sense of intuition, and so when you look at the cards and hear me speaking, if something stands out to you or if you see something, then that's a message that's specifically for you, by you, for you. Okay, let's see. I was just listening. Am I gonna have to go upstairs? Oh. Okay, I'll try. A Shallow Grave. As soon as I say I'm gonna record a video, all hell breaks loose. About Shallow Grave. This beautiful young woman is missing someone deeply, and she knows, perhaps for the first time, what it is like to lose someone. Missing someone can be very hard. It feels like a physical ache. 1 second, guys. Sorry. Oh, geez. Okay. Shallow Grave. So this beautiful young woman is missing someone deeply, and she knows, perhaps for the first time, what it is like to lose someone. Missing someone can be very hard. It feels like a physical ache, and our hearts can indeed be broken. Because we humans have the capacity to connect like no others in the universe. We love, and we love so deeply that that love can continue even when the form we loved is no longer with us. If you've received this card in a reading, it is time to acknowledge just how deeply you have yearned for someone's return and how much that person's loss has affected you. That could be a friend, a pet you loved, a grandparent, or a parent who has left. And missing this is so strong it sometimes is a physical hurt. There's a deep sadness here, and it cannot be eased by denying its presence. And once this is done, you can put what's missing to rest and visit from time to time, but know that you have been truthful with yourself and that your sadness will change and be a part of your life's beauty, not its pain. So everything that we go through in life, good, bad, ugly, every single thing, we have the choice to take something from that and learn, or carry it with us. So I suggest when you go through something that's especially epic, so it could be a breakup, it could be, your parents getting divorced, it could be, losing a grandparent, I mean, breaking up with a friend, there's so many different forms of loss, unfortunately. And with that being said, I think that instead of sort of, dragging it with you, sift through it now and, get the lesson, get the memories. Okay, let's take this step by step. If you're going through a breakup and it's the first time, to understand the pain is it's astronomical. You feel like you're literally going to die. Like there is no, it hurts. It hurts physically, it hurts emotionally. You have now, in this day and age, you don't just get to kind of run home and hide in your room. You have social media, you have to keep up with your friends and school and family, and then on top of that, a breakup is not something that we really like to share with people. some people don't even say anything until it's been, you know, a certain amount of time. It's something that's so deeply personal, and yet at the same time, as much as someone can say, you know, I feel your pain, it feels like no one could ever understand what this, you know, really feels like. And so the quickest way to get through anything is to go through it. As long as you're stuck on the edge of anything, right? Not wanting to deal with something is the same thing as not wanting to walk through that door. As long as you're stuck and not wanting to, you know, make your way through, you're never going to get further than you are right now. So that hurt and that pain, it will stay with you a little bit. It will be something that you carry with you. Or you can make the courageous, brave decision to be sad if you're sad, be mad if you're mad, cry, you know, eat ice cream, curse the person, whatever you need to do, however you need to feel that pain. And then when you're, you know, grieving and pain, and did you learn anything from, you know, did you learn anything from it? And even if it's, yeah, I'm never going to deal with it, oh, like him again, then that's a lesson, right? Did you learn anything about yourself through it? You know, this is where you get to choose who you are as a person. I think that the way we respond to things is just as important as the way things come at us. And so it's a very hurtful thing to go through. Hold on one sec, I'm so sorry. Something that I find, you know, another sort of unfortunately kind of more common occurrence right now is, you know, divorce and families breaking up. And now that's a tough one. You know, there are so many sides to that story, but putting ourselves in, you know, your shoes, this is your, you know, your parents, and this is your home, your family. These are two people that you love dearly and equally different, but equally they're your people. First of all, sometimes leading up to divorce can be very ugly and scary in the home, and yet as ugly and scary as it is, it's still better than thinking of your family being apart, thinking of, you know, watching anybody in pain or upset, or, you know, just there's so much that people go through, and it is very personal, and everybody handles everything differently, which is going back to the breakup. When you learn how to get your footing, especially at a young age, we always say things like, if only I knew then what I know now. But you're equipped with everything at your fingertips, literally. And so if you're getting the right, you know, guidance or information, if you're able to fill your tool belt earlier, then you're showing up to every single job that you have in the future, and you are more equipped than everybody else. You're ready for whatever it has to throw at you. That might have been a bad analogy, but whatever. The thing about divorce is that it has, okay, now this might be triggering, but it has nothing to do with you. And so while it affects every single part of you, the relationship that your parents had was separate and has nothing to do with you. Like, it would be the same thing if you are old enough to have had a boyfriend or breakup, whatever the case may be. When you break up with your boyfriend and his family is coming over to your house, or, you know, you guys are in the same friend group, and so even though you broke up and you're in so much, you're standing, right? Divorce is very tricky because it can sometimes and often involve years of someone's life. You know, these two people, they were in love at some point, you know, you assume are together, or, you know, we'll say it, in love. They were in love at some point. Like, they created this world, and that was your world, you know? And so when that tears apart, it can be, like I said, layers and layers and layers of just tragedy. The divorce itself is between your parents. Now, what no one can account for is the after effects, right? Sometimes as parents and even as kids, we all forget that we're just human. Like, there was no guidebook. You know, I feel like there is obviously, you know, as a kid, you look up to your parents and they know everything and they're so strong in there. But the fact of the matter is that we don't know what we're doing either. I mean, it's true. It's scary sometimes because as much as you learn and grow through life, you're still always going into something new and different, and you don't always have that tool belt ready for the job. Okay, before we go off on construction, a lot of times with divorce, it can be really, it's so messy because the kids, you guys, you get stuck in the middle often, more often than not. What parents fail to realize is that if they put them, if we all, I mean, for any of us, not just parents, but for any of us, if we all put ourselves in the other person's shoe, which not everyone can do. If you're watching this video though, I very firmly believe that you are definitely somebody that has, obviously, in my opinion, an open mind, and you're here to, you know, get some tips. You're here to better your life. You're here to have a lookout for what's happening, right? Divorce is a whole family thing, and yet at the same time, it's so personal between two people because we don't know. They could sit and tell you everything that happened and you still wouldn't know everything that happened, if that makes sense. And so in some way, you do have to sort of detach from the divorce itself. So not from your parents. And then another thing that happens is kids get tossed in the middle. They get used as ammunition. And 90% of the time, you don't even know what's going on, right? It's mom and dad are arguing, you're not going to dad's tonight. And I say that because that's usually the way that it goes. Unfortunately, we're all equal until we split up, and then things go south super quick. If we're looking at things on a purely human level, you have two people that were in a relationship together that created a family and a little world. When that world falls apart for these two people, it's already sort of decided or sort of society written that 9 times out of 10 the kids stay with the mom in the family home. The dad moves out. The flip side of that is, you know, there's budgets, there are bills, money's a big thing. We need money to survive. So money's something that will drive people crazy. It's another one of those tools that people use. So if you put yourself in the father's position, who has to now leave his home, his kids, his, you know, the little world that he's created, and for whatever reason, even if it's the father that's deciding to leave, we're not talking about the divorce, we're talking about what happens. So and that's another thing, we always have to try to compartmentalize your feelings. Like, if you want to understand something, there's a lot of layers to it, right? When the father leaves the home for whatever reason, they have to find their own place. So that's something extra in the budget. They also have to provide for food and, you know, transportation, getting around. They now have their own set of bills, and yet the money that they were making doesn't change. It continues to go to this household. So that's a very tough situation to be in. So that's going to create tension. Dad's got the money. What does mom have? Most times the kids. You don't give me money, you don't get the kids. You know, and it kind of, that becomes the bargaining chip. And it's unfair. It's not right. It takes two people to make a baby. And if you're not in an unsafe situation, I do feel that emotions run wild, and it becomes often scarring for not just life, but for our generation, like our families, our whole line of families. But anyways, I digress. I know that it's just a tough thing to get through. And then the kids in the middle are just kind of like, what? and you don't get a say most of the time. And oftentimes it's just, you know, you're dealing with babies and kids and even teens. You don't know what's going on. You're pissed off. You hate everybody. Like, then you have the flip side of things. You have your parents might be the type of parents that are talking to you, and so now they've included you in drama that you're not actually included in because you don't have all the facts, but you do now have some of the emotion. It's just a snowball of a mess. And if you are capable of understanding that, then you're capable of being able to shield yourself from what you're allowing in. It doesn't mean that all of those things aren't going to come at you, because you are in the situation, and if you are, you know, of a certain age, there's not a whole lot that you can do about it. However, I do think it is important for kids to find their voice. It's not, again, as long as it's not going to put you in an unsafe situation, you do have a voice. And it's unfortunate that we have to go through those things. It's unfortunate that we would even have to be put in a position that we are sort of considering our parents' feelings even before our own. A lot of time that also includes opinion. You know, there can be a lot of bashing, a lot of, you know, he ain't this, she ain't that. And I guess the most useful thing that I would say is really getting that shield up. It's one thing to hear something, it's another thing to listen to it, and then it's a third thing to absorb it. So I guess separating from that would be, I mean, it would be awesome. So here's I rambled on, sorry, but the shallow grave, you're missing someone. So it's not time to let something go, but before you do, let's take a moment to acknowledge what it was to you. Know that this meant so much, and by returning it to its past rather than yearning for it in the present, you are creating a future that has greater freedom to it. There are opportunities for a fresh start. There are opportunities for a fresh start all the time, every day in a sense. You need to feel that something has been laid to rest and will no longer trespass on the present. Life is kind of like that. So much of what happened isn't about what's actually happening, but thankfully you will blossom and grow with fresh relationships and love after mourning this lost one. So whatever you lost in life, this is a treadmill that people get stuck on because there's nothing there, and what's gone is gone. And so you can keep chasing and keep trying to get it back, but even if you manage to, you know, dig it up, even if you manage to pull two people back, even if you manage to somehow force your, you know, your, I guess, your agenda, your dream, your idea, like, oh, if I don't know what it is, but if you force that, it wouldn't be the same as the thing that you lost. Like, whatever it is, be a relationship, being, you know, your old family life, it's sad and heartbreaking, and you have to feel it, but it's gone, and we have to let it go. It's the only way to honor it. It tarnishes, you know, it tarnishes memory of what was, to make yourself sick over what you can't control right now. You can wake up, you can decide right now, you don't even have to wake up, you can decide right now, like, I'm changing my life, and literally your life is changed. And it's as simple and complicated as that. So you decide that you want to be a different person. So what's the person that you want to be? First of all, everything that you've been through in life up until this point, even this point right now, every single thing that you've done has made you the person that you are, the person that's deciding that they want to grow in some way. So don't look at anything that you are or have been as being negative, because it's a learning experience. And if you took a lesson from that, I mean, that's like skipping grades in life. And that's something that is priceless and was worth, believe me, every single horrible, you know, experience or thought, or, you know, shadow side of yourself that you're, you know, all of those things, they make you who you are. And as soon as you love and accept yourself and say, okay, maybe that wasn't my best moment, what did I do wrong, what can I do better? Because even if you had a time machine, the ultimate power to go back in the past, what would you change? What could you change? The only thing that you even have the ability to change would be yourself. Right? You can't control people's reactions to you. You can't control maybe the situation that you end up in, but you can control how you respond to it. You can control what you learn from it. You can control yourself in every aspect if you allow yourself to. But that takes courage, because it's sometimes admitting, like, oh, it's humbling to say, yeah, I effed up. Yeah, that was me. Or, yeah, this hurts. You know, like, we don't like to feel embarrassed, and we don't like to feel weak. We don't. Sometimes we just want to feel what we feel, and that's it, you know? But in this situation, this is something that the sooner you lay it to rest, whatever it may be, you know, remember it in good times and good health and whatever, but let it go. Sentimentally holding on to the past, idealizing the past, refusing, not allowing yourself to get over a breakup with a friend or move to a new town, a faded romance, parents who have divorced, or something you are convinced that you must have back in order to be happy again. Mourning for what was and what you feel should have been. Very deep sadness, and yet this experience has been of great value. See, I told you. It is time to move on and to place all of that to rest. Working with the element of earth is most beneficial when this card and fairy come to visit you. You may wish to plant a memory tree. Oh, that's nice. Something earthy and growy that changes to commemorate your lost love. As it grows and changes, you will heal, and memories will be sweet and sad without bitterness and pain. The earth takes form and changes then and gives back to us what we let go of in new forms. It is time for you to stop hanging on so sadly to that which has long passed. Mourn and then come back to us, ready to live again. So your message from the universe, from spirit, is that, you know, life misses you. You're so stuck on the pain of a situation, the crap of the situation, okay, so the book said plant a tree or something. I think that you actually need to rid your space of anything that maybe makes it harder to move on from your situation of loss, however that is. Nothing happens overnight, but as soon as you decide that you want something to change, it will. It sucks going through transitions. I am somebody that is, I can do fine with change in terms of like moving or, you know, getting, you know, going to a new school or switching a job, or like that stuff doesn't really bother me. But letting go of people, you know, I don't make attachments very often. And so when I do, I know that that's something that I definitely have, you know, I want to believe the best in people. And so when people, you know, sometimes when people tell you lies, you almost want to believe them because it's something that you want so badly. And I've been through that 100%. It doesn't make you less than because, you know, you're still mourning the loss of something. Like, it's the best part of being, you know, human, is being able to feel. So, I mean, I think that point was I mean, pretty clear. If you know, want any extra advice, or you want to talk, or you need extra help, my email is down below and you can always feel free to reach out. The second energy, so if that doesn't apply to you, which is totally possible, the second energy that we pulled would be the steampunk priestess. So let's see what she has to say. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, trust what you see. 4, 5, 6, the truths behind the tricks. 7, 8, 9, clarity divine. You shall see what you need to see at the perfect moment. It shall be. Oh, I love that. Appearances can deceive, yet when the time is right, what? Incisive? Yes, incisive. Incisive intuition slices through the illusion and the truth hits you between the eyes. That is the perception of reality behind the illusion. You know it when you You know it when you experience it, and you know what you know that you have to trust what you see. So give yourself permission to acknowledge and accept the power of those insights. Don't talk yourself out of the truth. Intuition might only last for a second, and yet it can change the way you look at things forever, setting you on a more authentic course and allowing for changes to take place that you might have previously believed were impossible. The steampunk priestess comes to you when there is more to something or someone than initially meets the eye. You might need to look closer to understand what is happening, or to trust in what you are already perceiving, even if a part of you doubts it, because the truth of that matter in such cases would be so at odds with superficial appearances. She reminds you to trust your insight, no matter how startling, surprising, or shocking that intuition might hit. She also brings a reminder to get focused on what matters to you. Then you won't lose precious energy by either worrying about what could go wrong or trying to sort something out in your head. When the time is right, even the most confusing situation is going to come into focus, and your understanding of the matter and what you need to or not to do will be crystal clear. Set an intention for clarity and trust in what you see. So that's kind of, I mean, intuition sometimes is a hit and run deal. Like, it's a feeling, it's a thought, it stops you for a second, you know. It's that, maybe I shouldn't go today. You know, it's that feel, you know something and you don't really know how, you feel weird about something and you don't know. And we've just been programmed to ignore it, right? Especially when you're kids, because I think that kids are so perceptive to those things, and we just, shut up, hurry up, like we're so shut down as people. In this case, you see her little steampunk piece? This is strong intuition. So you might be even just maybe a little bit more than intuitive, but you've been given, maybe if you haven't, you will be. You're in a situation, so let's assume that it has something to do with your missing someone card. So if it's a breakup, even if it's just a realization that you need to move on, or a realization that, oh, something, you know, when you don't want someone to be right, but you know that they are. So that's humbling. That's that yucky feeling. That's called being humble. Actually, I don't think that's called being humble, but it's like getting your foot in your mouth. It's that realization. And so if you've had that, or if you will have that, hone that, keep that, because that's your decision to accept it and go forward, or to pack it on your back and start caring. Don't lose your voice in it. Like, don't lose yourself in something that you can't change. Don't lose yourself in the past either. It's way easier said than done. Like, it's easy to say, oh, just move on. It's a lot harder to actually do, and I understand that to no end. I really, really do. But to love yourself is to be there for you. It's to accept you, flaws and all, and it's to know that even if you want love, you know, whatever, somebody else, that you also deserve that back, and also the freedom to move on from that, if it is like a breakup, or if it is a, you know, a loss of a grandparent, or if it's something like that. Like, the most useful thing that you can do would be to take a lesson from it, to take something from it. If you can forge a tool out of any mess, then you are just 10 steps ahead, right? A healing trick that we can do for you is, you're gonna get seated comfortably and rest your dominant hand, so the one that you write with, on your chest over your heart. The other hand, you're gonna lightly touch your forehead, just slightly above the center, so right here. Relax and breathe in and out several times. You might like to close your eyes for a few minutes whilst you do this. When you are ready, say this out loud. My intention is clear. I see all I need to see. I free myself in heart and mind to look beyond the surface of things, to witness the deeper reality. When you are ready, relax your hands back to the resting position. And if you have a particular issue you want to see more clearly, then you can also say, the unconditionally loving eye of my heart shows me the truth in the matter of, say your situation. With gratitude and relaxation, I receive the insights I need for understanding and resolution. According to divine grace and divine timing, so be it. Now you can gaze at the oracle card and relax. So imagine, feel, visualize, or pretend that you have a circular light shining in your forehead now. It feels cool, clear, open, and bright, but relaxed too. So you can rewind that, you can do that daily, you can do that, as often as you need to. I'm getting all sweaty, sorry. So your affirmation is, the eye of love in my heart and the eye of light in my head show me truths most helpful for me to see at the perfect time and in the perfect way. I feel relaxed and comfortable, trusting in what I see when I see it. When you ask for something, you have to be prepared to get what you asked for. So when you're asking for insight on something, you have to be prepared for the answer. So you might hope that it's something, you might want it to be something, and you have to understand too that that's a very strong energy. So even stronger than that energy needs to be your mind. Your mind has to be one of the strongest tools you have on you, because that energy, that can change things. For example, if your energy is, just, this is what I want, that's all that's on your mind, like that is powerful, and that is the intention you're sending out, that's the energy you're sending out. So for example, if that's on your mind and you jump on and say should I get back with him, and you're like, yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, you're pushing that, right? So stronger than your ego or your emotional side has to be your mind. You have to be able to want the truth and not want your answer. And so if that affirmation helps, say it. If the healing exercise helps, do it. I really think that the only thing that really makes a difference is really, like I said, being in your feelings, trusting in your feelings. Write stuff down. I've never been like a write a letter and burn it type person. I genuinely just believe that you should, if you have the opportunity and it's, in a not vital way, which, yeah, been there, done that. But if you can sort of say what you need to say and have the opportunity to, I personally, I will never walk away from a situation and burn a letter when I could tell somebody how I feel. I mean, life is not a movie, it's our movie, but it's not, sometimes we assume people know more than they know. Sometimes we assume so much that a simple communication is, life-changing. And then with that also being said, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. If you've expressed yourself, if you can't think of anything that you would say that you haven't already said before, then that's time to let it go. So at that point, if you need to, speak it out or, write it down, then by all means. But again, that would be your discernment, your mind telling you, you've said that already. He already knows. Or, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. With the loss of a loved one in death, know that they are always around us. Some people, everybody believes different things, but I believe that if you talk, they'll hear. Whether that be inside or, in your head or out loud, I think that if you are aware enough to take this in, then I think that you are not only going to get through this and on the other side and into sort of from the darkness into the light again, but I also think that you're setting yourself up for an incredibly just awesome future. I mean, the more, like I said, the more you learn sooner, the more well equipped you are for just everything that life's always going to throw stuff at. There's always going to be ups and downs. There's always going to be opportunities to grow, right? And so I'm sending you nothing but healing energy, loving healing energy. Like I said, my email is down below, and if you are teen watching this, young person watching this, obviously there's no charge for, it doesn't cost you to ask for help or ask for anything for that matter, especially when it comes to, losses and moving on and things like that, because it can be really hard. And if you have somebody in your life that you can talk to, talking's always a really good thing, but also just remember to have that shield up. You don't need anyone else to tell you how you feel. You know how you feel. You don't need anybody else to push agendas or, tell you how you should handle it. I think that you are a very capable, smart person. I think that you have your own thoughts, own ideas, and some of those might, mesh with other people, and some of them might go against it, but that's what makes you you. And you would never be able to change the world or your life or anything for that matter if you didn't change something, So, yeah, loving energy to you. Thanks for checking out the channel. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah. Namaste, guys. Bye.